two, one, one, two, one, two, one, one, two.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Artists Under Construction. I'm Neon Tom.
And I am Moves Johnson. Yes, guys, thank you very much for watching the podcast that makes you bigger, faster, stronger as an artist, as a creator, as a passionate poet and inspirer of minds and bodies and souls.
Yes.
And today we have a wonderful guest who I've been waiting to get on this podcast for some time. We are joined today by the great Tara C. Taylor from...
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Tara.
Hi,
You are
Tara.
from Berlin originally, but you're living in Berlin now, but you're from Canada originally. Do you want to
Yes, I
maybe
am.
tell people a little bit about where you come from, who you are, what you do?
I am Tara C. Taylor, singer-songwriter, musician, originally from Winnipeg, Canada. Also lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, San Francisco, and now Berlin.
Awesome. And what you are a singer, songwriter, musician, performer, general all-around entertainer of people. Yes. And
Yes,
What?
yes.
How did you get into this field? Did you have like a backstory, or like how long have you been doing this? What's your where do you come from? What's your origins there?
My origin story. Well, I started singing in choirs when I was a kid. And I was in a school, it was John DeGraff Elementary, and our choir director, Corinne Villebrin, very competitive, brilliant teacher. She would get us into singing competitions, like with the choir. We usually won citywide competitions in Winnipeg for our age category. So between, the ages of like 5 years old to 12 years old. So I was in competitive choirs. And then after I got out of elementary school, when I was in junior high, she asked me to be a part of the Folklorama Youth Choir. So I did that for a few years. And I've just loved singing. So I started writing my own material when I was a teenager, kind of on the piano, and later on the guitar. So throughout the years, I've tried to get into acting. I was in a few bands. And acting didn't really pan out for me like I had hoped it would. I became more of an extra than an actor
Right.
when I moved to Vancouver in the year 2000. And then I just decided, you know what? Be your own boss and keep singing. So I started writing material again on guitar, started performing in Vancouver, and it just snowballed from there. I always had a day job to support my music habit, and this is the first time I have a music habit without really a day job.
That's cool.
I love how you say music habit like it's heroin or something, which is a totally fair analogy.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
such a compulsion to play. Like once you get your first taste of guitar or piano or performing, like I've heard you sing, you're an absolutely beautiful singer, and such a talented vocalist. And I just you know what I mean? Like once you get up into that, you're like, oh, I'm doing it, and it's good, and I'm just in the zone. It's like a drug. It's great.
I love it. I personally love it.
I'm sure you do. I mean, we all do this because we love it, I think,
Yeah.
to some extent. That's why you start, right? And then, but you were saying, because this is what we talk about a lot here, is having a day job to support yourself and and sort of living these two lives simultaneously. And a lot of the time we're trying to talk about, because I think a lot of our viewers and a lot of our listeners are in this boat where they have what they're passionate about, what they want to do, but then they have this, you need to fund that. You need to do something to make that work. And so like what steps did you take now, because you're doing music full time? Do you like what was your biggest challenge in making that transition? Like what did you find hardest?
It wasn't that it was hard. So my husband, a partner in crime, love of my life, Don McTavish, we were working in tech in San Francisco. We were with this company for 3 years, and the company got sold, and Trump was in office, and we're on visas, so we weren't not U.S. citizens, not permanent residents, and we had saved money, like we were able to save money, even though San Francisco's expensive. we both have a knack for, let's just say, not being in debt. So we just said,
That's a good way to put it. I like
the hell
that.
with it. What are we going to do? Let's move to Berlin and concentrate on your music. Done deal. Repatriated everything to Canada. And yeah, came to Berlin January 2018. So it wasn't that
Amazing.
it was hard, but this was an opportunity that just kind of, it was there. What do? Give up the day job. Let's not look for another day job. We've got a cushion financially. Let's just do it.
Yeah, if the moment is there and the opportunity has, like, what more of a sign do you need? You know what I mean? It's, yeah.
It was
Did
perfect.
you have-
Absolutely
did you
perfect
have-
timing.
Did you have anything specific that brought you towards Berlin than any other place?
Besides the parties?
Yeah.
Don and I had visited Berlin 6 times before we
Cool.
actually moved here. We had always wanted to live here. And it was just, this was the opportunity to leave North America and let's try to live in Berlin. If Germany will have us, we'll stay.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So we already knew the city. We knew areas we wanted to live in. And we knew the city pretty well. We knew the transit system. So the
That's an
only part
important
that was
thing, though.
difficult is learning German.
Yeah, that's because like you and I both live in Berlin. Like we know each other from living in Berlin, even though we're both from Canada, and we're it's good to sort of live in a city where you're familiar with the area and familiar with like, I know that there's going to be music in this part of town, or I know that I know how to get home when I'm drunk. Even is such a good thing. Yeah, and like we were in Italy once, and I could not for the life of me. Like you got to get from the hotel to. It's only 2 stops away, but like ask me if I can find the right line to get to those 2 stops, or like where do I even buy a ticket? And it's such a such a clusterfuck is where I was going with that.
Oh yeah.
But I don't want to say anything bad about like the Roman transport system. I'm sure they're lovely people who built all of it.
No, I think.
But the other,
I was just gonna say there's a lot of English speaking in Berlin. And like when I was there, we had that van express thing that would pick us up when we're drunk, and you could like use the mobile app.
that's actually part of the transit
Berlin
system.
Yes.
Konisch. Yeah.
Yes.
They offer
Yeah,
that.
VVG Berlin Konisch. Yeah.
That was good. I like that.
When you're too drunk, we'd
Cheaper than a
rather
cab.
you didn't even get on the subway. We just like we'll take.
Yeah, we have an app for that. It's cool.
We haven't.
And
Which is amazing.
and the
I
other
love Berlin's transit system. It's such a selling point for this city.
It's
Seriously.
really, it looks convoluted, like from Toronto, where it's literally just one line and then another line.
Yeah.
Um,
Same with
and it's-
Vancouver. There's 3 lines in total.
you know what I
So-
mean? And it's such a. It looks so intricate and intense, but then once you actually realize what's happening, it's like the most efficient way to get around. Like the city is so huge, and you can take transit to virtually anywhere in the city. It's great.
There's a rumor that Iggy Pop, when he lived in Berlin, he liked to ride the ring.
I
So
mean,
he would do like the
that could mean a
S41
couple
or
of
the
things,
S42.
so I don't know what kind of a rumor you were hearing.
No, but he would like to get on the S-Bahn and ride the ring, or just to kill time sometimes, just to daydream or to write.
Yeah.
He would do that.
That doesn't surprise
Get
me.
on the
Have you ever
S41
done
or
that?
S42.
I've like passed out on the ring a couple of times. I've never done the whole circuit. For people who've never been to Berlin, there's like one part of the subway system is literally just a ring that goes around the city. And yeah, like I've definitely ridden that for longer than intended. It's like an hour the whole way around if you take it. Yeah. Well, the other thing I was trying to say about Berlin, there was no organic segue. We drifted, but the other thing I was trying to say was just that I don't know quite what it's like in Vancouver. I know the Montreal and Toronto music scenes far better, but
Yeah, Vancouver music scene.
compared to Berlin is what I mean, because to come here as someone primarily from a Toronto music background, like my strategy didn't change for how to find shows or how to book a gig or work with people or whatever. It's almost identical to what I was doing in Toronto. It's just here I found such like people respect your craft much more. Like as a musician, I felt much more welcomed here. Whereas in Toronto, people were like, "Oh, you play music? Like maybe I'll come to your show." Or like when you're busking, they tell you you're too young to be homeless and stuff like that. It's really
You're too young to be homeless.
I had somebody say that to me, and it's
Just because I play music does not mean I'm homeless.
like exactly right. And it's very so like to come here. It was such a refreshing turn. So, but I don't know. I was wondering if you felt like how your experience was in that, like what the comparison is.
So a lot of venues in Vancouver actually were sold and turned into condos.
Yeah.
So there are very few live bars left in Vancouver. Like the Starfish Room, that was gone almost 20 years ago. Like Nirvana played at the Starfish Room. Richards on Richards, that's totally gone. That's been gone for a decade now. The Piccadilly Pub, I used to play there for open mic. That's history. Another nightclub or something. Copper Tank, I don't know if that's around anymore. So there are fewer open mics, that's for sure. There are more open mics in Vancouver for comedians than there are for musicians, basically. I did have a regular night
too, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to, but just like I've noticed that comedy, even in Berlin, there's a lot of comedy open mics popping up as well. I think comedy's just this art form that's starting to bubble. That a lot of people are. Comedy's the new rock and roll. You know what I mean?
But it's also cheaper to do too. Think about
sure.
it. But I tried stand-up comedy in Vancouver. There was I can't remember the venue. Brett Butt used to host a open mic every Tuesday. Yeah, it was the Urban Well in Kitsilano. And I'd moved to Vancouver, and there was the Screen Actors Guild strike, so it was the worst time to move to Vancouver to try to be an actor. So I was working at a Rogers Video in Kitsilano on U Street, and I would go to the Urban Well, have a drink after work, and I'd watch comedy. And I met a few of the comedians, and they said, "Hey, well, why don't you try? You're an actor. You've done improv."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I could." So I did it for about 3 months in 2002. And I have to say, Brett Butt was one of the best hosts. He was so nice to me when I did my first open mic as a comedian. He was just the sweetest guy.
Brett Butt, the
Absolutely
guy from Corner
awesome.
Gas.
Corner Gas, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
really great. The best host ever, the best encouraging individual to try to do stand-up. I did it for about 3 months, and I had bombed a few times, and I thought, nah, this just isn't for me. But it did give me a lot of training in regards to playing live as a musician, because you can be, heckled by an audience member at an open mic, or even during your own show, if the other people are waiting to watch somebody else, they can heckle you. So it gave me a few quick comebacks, and also really got me comfortable with improvising, like how to introduce a song, like in between songs.
Staying
It was
in the
great
moment
training.
or feeling what the crowd needs more than one thing or another. Yeah, I was gonna make. I'm glad you went down that road, because that's exactly the comparison I was gonna make. Is it's like you're as a musician. I mean, there's one part of you that's you're obviously like the creator of the song, and you're here to perform the piece, but like. You're also just a general entertainer. Like you've got people watching you. You need to keep this crowd entertained, and that's very similar strategies if you're playing music, or if you're dancing in front of them, if you're telling jokes in front of them. Like any sort of an entertainment is a different system. You have gotten huge. You are,
Don.
Yeah.
Don.
Oh,
There.
zoom
We're
in.
back.
All good. It's all good.
We're back.
Magic of television.
I say keep it in.
Oh yeah,
no,
I wasn't planning on editing it out. That's
Okay, good.
I gotta read the manual to figure out how to check my focus instead of zooming in.
yeah.
It's just little
Amazing.
things.
So back on to comedy.
Yep.
Back on to
how
I mean,
stand-up comedy, how it's good. No, it's really good training as a performer to learn how to be funny in front of people, get people engaged, speak to your audience. But also, if somebody heckles you and tells you to get off the stage, you can tell them to go bite themselves.
Exactly. You can swear on this show, by the way. I don't know how
Okay.
cruel your heckling is back to the crowd. I don't know if you genuinely say those words.
I'm a PG heckler. Okay, let's.
You're PG.
Excuse me.
I think
sir.
I think I got heckled once in Vancouver, and I said, "You know what? Fuck you, buddy." It was just really nice, refreshing way to, fuck you,
right,
buddy.
Yeah. Hey, you're a dick, and then just move on.
Yeah. Move on.
And in the same story, we're talking about open mics and stuff. We keep bouncing back and forth, but as the little thought bubbles spark in my head, I just do this. But on open mics too, like, because I think the three of us at this point have all been to the open mic at Wrangelstrasse here in Berlin. Tom, I think I brought you the last time you came to visit. Yeah, and we were all there, and that open mic is very much. There's no microphones. There's no amplifiers. It's the crowd gets drunker and drunker as the night goes on, and it's literally just like you standing in the storm on the stage, just you and your guitar. And if you need people to be quiet because you wrote a quiet song, that's you sort of have to take control of the crowd and bring them down with you. It's such a good training situation because literally every time you step on the stage, it's a different scenario and a different challenge that gets thrown at you. And like you can, like, there's so many opportunities to take that and move it to your actual live show or the actual performance that you bring, like when you're billed as, the headliner or whatever act. You know what I mean?
I was thinking how it's kind of funny
at that specific open mic. Oh, I just want to add, at that specific open mic on Wranglerstrasse, that one I like being early. Definitely being early is a benefit. Like getting there early, getting a slot early, that's totally a benefit, because if you go on after 10 or 11 p.m., everybody is drunk and it's very loud and there's no amplification. And
they mean
it's
well,
a challenge
but it's 60
to get people.
Drunk people sitting in a room. Do you know what I mean? It's that's exactly it. It's a challenge. That's
it's a total challenge. It's hard to get people engaged after you've had like 5 beers. So keep going, Tom. What were you about to say?
I was just going to say that it's funny how we've all sort of had this experience sort of learning through like regular open mic performances, because Moose Johnson and I kind of also started with hosting karaoke on a regular Friday every single week. And people would get really drunk and people would heckle us. And, some people, they don't want karaoke. They're not there to see that. They're just there to get drunk. So
and they didn't they're not there to see that, and they didn't know we were coming. So like you're literally kicking people off of their table.
We're infringing on their time, so they're gonna heckle the living crap out of us.
There's people sitting with chicken wings, and you're like, "Excuse me, can you go eat those over there, please? We need to set up a stage and some very loud speakers." And they're like fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? And it's
and then they shout at us to play Freebird for the rest of the night, and we have to learn how to deal with that.
And they stay out of spite to watch. Yeah. But it's exactly it. You get so many different scenarios thrown at you, and so many different opportunities to try out things and see what sticks to the wall best.
So a friend of mine in Vancouver, Matthew Presidente, he's a gentleman I do songwriting with. He's an LGBT plus performer in Vancouver, really good songwriter, exceptional piano player. And he had a Tuesday night music night at Numbers Cabaret on Davie Street. And, it's the cute little gay bar on Davie. And so it was a regular Tuesday. I had a regular slot. So he would host the night, play his original music, but he would always have guests come in. So there were a lot of other independent performers. There was a really nice jazz singer, Casey Wallace. She would come by. She passed away last year. But there was a lot of talent. He was really, really good at fostering that talent. And we did like 500 plus shows at Numbers. So that was like a once a week gig for years. And when the bar decided to go in a different direction and not have the regular Tuesday night, Don and I secured a spot at a cafe bistro on Denman Street that doesn't exist anymore. I think it was called Central. And we had a regular Tuesday happening during the Olympics. So between November 2009 and April 2010, we had our weekly show. So Matthew would do a slot, I would host, I would do a slot, but then we'd have a special guest. So we had all these other acoustic musicians coming in. Like, you couldn't be loud, you couldn't have loud percussion. So with some of the independent singer-songwriters from the scene, it was perfect spot for them. And there was, free drinks, not a lot of payment for the guests, but we got paid pretty good. And during the Olympics, Central Bistro was the only bar that wasn't surcharging an extra like 18%. So and it was by two hotels on Davie Street that were hosting all the European media, American media. So we met a ton of people from like Germany, France, United States, Slovenia, that were all these radio and camera people who were documenting and covering the sport for the 2010 Olympics. So I met some awesome people. And by the time the Olympics were finished, we did a send-off for them on a Tuesday, and we all got them to sing Hallelujah.
Amazing.
By Leonard Cohen.
That's really
so
cool.
they really enjoyed it. Like the Germans especially loved the live music. They would, depending when their shifts were, they would come to the bar, be it at 8 or at 10 p.m. or sometimes even stay till 5 or 6 in the morning. But on our Tuesday music night, they would come, they'd have something to eat, something to drink, and they would request songs sometimes or even try to join in. But it was a lot of fun. And when we have their send off, everybody were in tears because we actually made a lot of friends that we still keep in touch with here in Germany. And come sing Hallelujah. It has like 10 verses to it. It's perfect.
That's what it is, right? You got to bring everybody together, and you create that memorable moment. And that's what it is. Like once people are dancing and singing together, once they feel that connection, then they want to feel that connection again, and then they call you back, or the bar calls you back, or whatever. Like you end up being memorable for that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really, really good event, but unfortunately, Central Bistro could not keep up with the cost of the space for that place was really expensive, so they ended up having to shut down, unfortunately. But no, that was a really good Tuesday night that Matthew and I had at that restaurant.
Amazing.
But there are other places too. Like I used to open mic in San Francisco when I lived there. That's another city that's had a struggle with keeping live venues open because it's so expensive. The rents are horrendous.
I mean, I think it's happening. I think it's happening everywhere. Toronto has been. The Elma Combo's been under construction for 10 years now. I think they've just given up on reopening it. New York, things are shutting down.
Yeah,
as a Torontonian,
blankets sold.
The Smith, what?
As a former Torontonian, you might get a little bit of a kick out of this in the same way that I do. Do you remember the Silver Dollar Room?
I do remember
I've heard of the Silver Dollar Room.
So it's just up the road from the Elma Combo.
The Silver Dollar Room has turned into a condo, but they've kept the neon sign for the Silver Dollar Room. So it still looks like a place you could play music, but it's a condo.
Ouch, that's painful.
No.
Oh, that just hurts.
I know.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Just a stab in the gut. That's,
yeah.
I mean, you see a lot of, and this is all like pre-COVID too. Like this is, like it's not even just, the bars have been shut down for a year and we didn't do business. It's, the rent was going up even before this, and people are.
It's
like,
absolutely
condos
stupid
are going
how expensive
everywhere.
it is.
And the people who are moving into these bar districts are, I don't know about necessarily
Cranky?
everywhere, but yeah, like they get really surprised that they moved above a bar or a music venue, and there's noise and parties and music happening into the evening. It's very.
That's what happened in Vancouver. That's why a lot of places got shut down. Is the amount of complaints in places in downtown like Yaletown. Like, how did you not know that there are 3 nightclubs within a 10-minute walk? Like,
I mean,
honestly,
you live in
don't
Berlin?
you walk around your neighborhood?
How many times have we been in a bar and the neighbors have come knocking? There are a couple of bars specifically that I'm thinking of, but it's true of like everywhere in the city. Just some disgruntled neighbors like, hey, it's 9:30. Why are you playing guitar? And you're like, you can hear that? It's not even plugged in. Like, what the? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there was one place in Kreuzberg we were at for Fête de la Musique. I played 2 shows at 2 separate places, one in Neukölln and one in Kreuzberg by Schlielisches Tor. And there is an individual who owns a tattoo parlor next door, but he lives upstairs from this bar. And it is 8 o'clock at night. He is yelling at everybody, telling us to shut the fuck up. I'm going to fucking kill you. And then he dumps a bucket of ice water on people on the patio. Literally.
Oh. Yeah, that happens a lot here. I've had water dumped on me for being loud, but I mean, I probably deserved it in that respect. 8 o'clock is different than.
Yeah, 8 o'clock's too early.
I have a very loud laugh when I'm drunk at 3 a.m. and I was informed of that in a very special way one night.
That's amazing.
So.
Don's busting a gut over here, by the way, with your story.
You guys have heard
I
me
can
laugh
see it.
drunkenly at 3 a.m. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And it's yeah.
But this is a tough city to get gigs because there's so much competition. Like
well, to get like
you-
paid gigs, it's easy enough
Yeah.
to find somewhere to play your song, but like to get
mhm.
like like I want to set up a show, I want people to come, I want to get you know, we charge tickets or admission. And
Yeah.
I agree entirely. It's such a there's like everybody who makes art comes to this city, and it's
Yeah.
like a mecca for
Yeah, it
these
is.
artists, and it's such a like it's a great community, and it's a great way like we were talking about to find these places where you can prove yourself and train and network
Yeah.
and like really hone all of these individual elements of your craft, but then to go and apply them somewhere, there's like there are so many people who are willing to play for free that bars don't even see a justification in paying money at this point,
Yeah.
which is absurd. And yeah,
In other cities in Germany, you can get paid, but Berlin is the toughest place to get paid.
you
I
can get
think.
paid quite well, I think, in other cities in Germany too.
Yeah.
It's not even like oh, I went down to Hamburg or Dresden or something, and now I've only just barely covered the cost of travel. Like, no, you could like go and do a show or two down there for a weekend and make enough money to last you like
Yeah.
half a month in
Mhm.
Berlin. But it's just such a why can't I do that in Berlin? Like,
But-
why can't I do that amongst
Yeah.
the creatives?
You know what's kind of funny though?
Yeah, completely agree.
When you think about it, the same thing was happening to us here in Toronto, right? Because we'd play 3 shows in Toronto and not get paid, and then we'd go to Barrie for one night, and they'd be like, "Oh, you guys are awesome! Here's $100
Yeah.
a person," and we're like,
Yeah,
"We
right.
made
Like,
$300
like,
bucks
what?
today."
We went to Ottawa and Hull and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Soon as we got out of Toronto, people were just like, "Take it!" Like nobody comes out here. Nobody
and
wants
drink
to
all the
drive out
beer
here.
you want. We're like,
Yeah.
what?
They're like, we just sit in silence with all of this beer and money and wait for people like you to show up.
It's
and like,
also-
oh well, if I'd known, I'd have come sooner.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Like it's also hard to get good paying gigs in Vancouver. There are only so many live venues left. And
Yeah.
like if you go into the interior of British Columbia, like if you go do shows in Kelowna or Kamloops or Dawson, or even a resort, maybe up in Whistler, you get a paid gig in Whistler. It's good money, really, really good money. But inside Vancouver, unless you have a name, it's really, really hard to get a gig and to have somebody actually pay to see you.
this is the thing. Like as a Canadian
Like-
band,
Yeah.
if you're not Nickelback or Justin Bieber, people tend to not want anything to do with you.
Dan Manga.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't play.
Yeah.
It's
They
just
don't play Vancouver.
it's such a
It's hard.
such a backwards system is the sort of the
Mhm.
best way to, I think, to put it. But yeah, sorry, you seem to be having a couple of technical issues, and I just want to make sure you are still there. Oh no, there you are.
Can you
There-
hear me?
How many fingers
Okay,
am I
good.
holding?
All
Yeah,
right.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Awesome.
No, everything's good.
Yeah, we're good. So, but yeah, just in general, it's I think that's the same thing where, like, even in Berlin, if you had this name of like, if Taylor Swift comes to Berlin, I'm just in my head picturing that because she's so and the antithesis of what Berlin is. But like if Taylor Swift came to Berlin, she would have a draw. Do you know what I mean? Like you could
Yeah.
sell
Oh, she'd be
out,
at Mercedes Benz.
Exactly. You go to the arenas and something, and you would make money. But like to come to a bar here in this city and ask for like $100 for 3 people for the night, like the bars are going to fight with you, and it's such an uphill battle that I really don't.
Yeah.
I've started to drift away from trying to book shows here. You know what I mean? There are a couple of bars that I like to
Yeah.
deal with, and a couple of people who I'm familiar with, and I'm cool to
Mm-hmm.
work with their system. But then for the most part, it's just like, why? If I'm gonna sit down and spend the day sending emails and spend the day asking people when they've got openings and marketing myself, why do that to people who I know are gonna fight back? Why not ask people who I know
Yeah.
have the disposable income or at least care to spend it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is kind of like why artists tour, right? I mean, if you play music just in the city you're based, chances are you're not going to make a lot. But if you just tour that area, as soon as you go outside the city, you know, you're probably going to make a better amount overall.
I think, yeah, it
Right
just works
now,
out to it.
with Corona, I'm just hesitant booking shows,
Oh, yeah.
period. Yeah. So I think after, like in 2022, I think Corona will hopefully be done. Then I'll feel comfortable, you know, putting myself out there, wanting to tour, wanting to book shows. Like, I'd hate right now to go somewhere like Leipzig, play a gig, and then it's like, yeah, you can't get back to Berlin right now.
you're just
No,
stuck
we're
here.
closing
Yeah.
we're closing the borders between the States and Germany. Yeah, that would be bad.
There have been
So-
moments where, you know, I think we're in a calm period in Berlin right in this moment of like things are starting to open. There's not this big panic of an outbreak, and you know you can do these open mics again, which is at least something. I think the city really needs that. But it's yeah, to say, oh, but I'm gonna go out of the city for a week at a time. Yeah, but next week they might just be like lockdown, total lockdown. You can't be out after 6 p.m. without your papers.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen a couple of times since I've been in Germany, and it's been very interesting to have to deal with. It's been another challenge. It's been another thing. So, but we keep talking about the challenges.
Completely.
But like, what do you consider then to be one of the most successful things you've done since you've? I was gonna say since you've come to Berlin, but like since you left full time your work to be a musician, like what?
The
what
most
do you think is
success
the most successful?
I've had, I have to say, getting into the Live at Heart Festival in Sweden. That was the most successful thing I've done so far. And it was nice to get out of Germany and to see and meet a bunch of new people. It was like the Wild at Heart Festival is kind of like a small Reeperbahn festival. So you have your singer-songwriters, your artists, but you also have panel discussions. It's a showcase festival, but you get to meet so many people. And like it was really international. I've met a lot of people from Canada that were playing at this festival just to get some more exposure, like for booking agents and stuff, for other festivals. So to me, getting into that festival was one of them, and performing 3 shows during it was the most success I've had so far.
I mean, it's a great
It was
marker
really-
of success. It's an awesome achievement. So
Yeah.
you should feel proud for that. That's congratulations. Did you take any
But,
particular
yeah.
steps to like get there, or was there any sort of strategy you used?
Strategy? No, I applied. I had actually at the Reeperbahn Festival, I think it was in 2018, we met the guy who was one of the curators for the Live at Heart Festival. So we had a really good chat after one of the panel discussions about festivals in Europe and when to apply, what type of festival that you would be suited for, because there are some festivals that are specific for singer-songwriters or hip hop or electronic. So you know, you cater yourself accordingly and how to apply, reaching out. So I got his card. I applied to Live at Heart, and I also sent him a personal email saying, hey, I've applied for Live at Heart. Hey, I hope to see you there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got in. But there's also another thing in Europe it's an organization called Key Change. So Key
heard of
Change is
Key
an
Change,
organization that is looking for 50% of festivals, 50% of I guess showcasing, be women, so female artists. So that's what they're gearing towards. And Live at Heart was gearing towards having the 50% female artist marker. So I'm happy I got in because they want to do this quota system. So why not? Yeah,
I mean,
take
yeah,
advantage of it, kind of thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's there's nothing wrong with, and it should be evenly represented of like people from any sort of background or gender, race, culture. I think that's, and I mean it's a shame that it has to be quota based, but the fact that they're being aware of it is like exactly it's a step in the right direction. There's nothing wrong. Like, you're a qualified performer, and you should definitely be sharing that with people, right? So
European festivals have been adopting, and I think the UK is also trying to adopt the Key Change model of having 50% women, even for headlining acts, kind of thing. So if you have a Kendrick Lamar, then you could have a Taylor Swift kind of thing. Those are your 2 headliners at a festival. Those names just came out of nowhere. But
I mean, they're solid.
So the United States is where it's been the bigger challenge to have a 50-50 ratio
They don't
for
have
female artists to
Kendrick
male.
Lamars and Taylor Swifts in the U.S. They don't.
No, but there's, I don't know, like Lollapalooza, I don't know if they've adopted the key change model yet, or Coachella, or Life is Beautiful in Las Vegas, or Austin City Limits Music Festival.
Fair enough. This is
So,
actually, come to think of it, I don't know if like Canadian Music Week has that. I mean, it
I
makes
don't think
sense
so.
that they might, but
I feel like there. I don't know. It's hard to say if there's actually like an equality in bands available, but like I feel like since we've played Canadian Music Week a lot and we've watched like North by Northeast grow and evolve, I feel like they're spotlighting more diverse artists, more female artists, more artists of ethnicity than they
trying
ever
to make
have
a point
before.
to show that.
Yeah, I don't know if we're at like equal, representation, but we're definitely. I think we're trying.
But
I think
this
we're
is
making,
my whole point. I think it's, as long as people are aware that this is a demographic to be represented, that this is something not only that people want to see, but like these are people who are applying to the festivals as well. This is an underrepresented demographic. So like, for the fact that they're aware and showing the representation, or like, is exactly the right direction. If they only have 2 women apply and 100 men apply, it makes perfect sense to say like we can't obviously show 50% women and 50% men, or otherwise we'd only have 4 performers. But like, obviously those 2 women need to be on
they're gonna
the panel. They
spotlight,
need to
on the
like,
stage,
like we have to, like, you have to give the credit where it's due. Do you know what I mean? So.
But it is harder being I do find it is harder being a female artist. There is a certain
I believe you.
Higher level that a lot of female artists feel that they have to be in order to be taken seriously.
You mean in terms of like talent or professionalism, like higher level specifically?
Like talent, professionalism, flexibility. So it like in that regard, I think there's a different standard being held to female artists than to male artists. So I do, like with Key Change, I'm glad that they're trying to get this quota system. It should be based on merit, but at the same time, I think women we really self-doubt ourselves a little bit too much, and we question ourselves a little bit more. Like young men or young male bands, just get in the van and go.
I was actually going to make a point
be
like
damned.
that.
Recklessly,
just
exactly.
go. Yeah. And I find female artists, we have to be a lot more strategic about it to be taken seriously.
No, fair enough. And
there's a lot more to it. It's just maybe not as risk averse. Like not women are more risk averse than men are when it comes to that. Putting yourself out there.
And I think it comes down to, like you said, it should be based on merit ultimately. But like currently, if we're just trying to encourage these underrepresented
female
people,
artists,
like female,
to actually,
or I like even indigenous artists, or like any sort of underrepresented demographic. I think if they're if the first and foremost thing is just trying to encourage them, then that's one of the best systems to encourage. Like, no, we need you, we want you, please come. Like you're inviting them at that point.
Yeah, if you ever want to make it to equal representation, that's what you have to do. You have to encourage people to.
Yeah, you have to have the invitation and the encouragement completely.
And then once,
I totally agree.
Once we have this equal sort of process, once we have a fair pool of each sort of party being introduced, then you can start to focus more on merit and more on like who out of this group and this group and this group is the most appropriate for whatever role. But like like I said, if you're only getting 2 women applying every year out of 100 men, and like step one
that's
is to
where
get
it starts, the encouragement for the other women to apply. Yeah, completely.
I want to make a kind of a secondary point as well. We were talking about that, a bunch of young men can get into a van and just go and play a bunch of gigs, and it's a little bit harder for a female artist. But I think there's also kind of a flip side of where we've watched all these sort of young male punk bands that had that sort of outlook. They've all kind of fell to like the side. They haven't been able to succeed because they haven't.
A lot of them drove that van into a wall.
Yeah,
really
exactly. and the women who were better at planning and like scheduling their tours and more professional are still around and they're still playing. So
yeah, true.
There's something to be said about that. I think.
Yeah, but it's still the ratio
Yeah, for
of
sure.
the men or guys getting into the van and just going and then
Oh,
hitting
yeah.
the brick wall versus the amount of women who believe in themselves enough to say, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to be strategic about it,
To even
and
get in
don't
the
hit
van
the
in the
wall.
first
But
place.
still, the
Yeah.
No,
ratio is still,
I-
more guys
I
than
think
women.
if you're
So,
if you were in a female band like that, it's like there's roadblocks before you even hit the wall. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, completely.
It's
Completely. It's at the Reeperbahn Festival when we went just to check it out. Went to a panel discussion with Linda Perry,
oh yeah.
who's famous producer for Non Blondes,
Yep.
and Tony Visconti,
cool.
he produced Bowie and also played bass for Bowie, worked with Bowie, part of the trilogy. And he said he represents and produces female artists in New York. And when he was at this panel discussion, he basically said, I didn't realize how difficult it was to be a musician and performer until I represented a woman.
Really.
And I'm like, huh, interesting. And Linda Perry's message. I don't know if we can keep this in.
Pause.
Pause.
Oh, say it.
It's all good.
Yeah. So basically, Linda Perry's message to the women in the audience. So it was about women in music. And she goes, don't give out blowjobs and think that you're going to get a record contract. Just
I
don't
mean, that's
do
good
it.
advice. You can definitely keep that in. I think
I think it's good advice for everybody, really.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I would give Tom the same advice. Really, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
I will take that advice.
So Linda Perry's an interesting woman. Oh my God. But she is professional, to the point, and she is really direct. And the woman who is moderating the discussion, she asked, do you see any changes in the music industry? And she's like, no, not in my lifetime. Are you kidding? I'm like, wow.
just so many years of climbing uphill that she's just bitter
Oh,
and
yeah.
beaten, but still
like
somehow
so
upbeat
many
about
years.
it.
Yeah.
I hate to do it, but we're starting to run into our time marker here, so I have to play the role of moderator a little bit and get us back on track.
Yes,
because this has been.
I was just gonna say there's something we do at the end of every episode that we need to start talking about right now. And
Christmas?
That is assigning homework.
That's the opposite of Christmas.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
homework.
Yep. Yep.
So you were actually talking to us about a little book that you have, and I was going to ask you about this throughout the conversation, but we covered so many different things today, and we didn't get around to the book. So why don't you tell us a bit about this book, and then we'll get to the homework.
I'm a Winnipegger. That means I am a pessimist. I have my huge inner pessimist. And I found a book that was also a gift. It's called An Uninspirational Journal. Embrace Your Inner Pessimist.
Cool.
And this is
this
your
book, it's my go-to to make myself feel better. It is,
Okay.
because it's putting yourself out there artistically and always having some self-doubt about your worth, your talent, your creative, even when you have like writer's block. It is a reverse psychology type of journal that makes you laugh at yourself and also tells you, you know what, I'm actually not that bad. So
Could be worse
I don't
type
actually
thing.
write inside the journal. I use a separate notebook because I like to go back to it and I don't want to have to erase or use whiteout and write something else in there because space is limited.
Okay. You've actually written these things in the journal. Then this is your.
Well, I've documented in a separate book, not inside said journal.
Okay.
But there are things that will make you laugh. If you never believe in anything, you'll never be disappointed. So if you never believe in yourself, you'll never be disappointed. No, I believe in myself. I'm putting myself out there. So it makes you, it's kind of in a reflection in a way. I love this book.
I mean, there's some truth in the statement too, because it's it's true. If you don't hope for something, then you can't be disappointed. But also if you are too hopeful about something, do you know what I mean? Then that's just going to magnify your disappointment if you don't get it. So it keeps you grounded in that realism of you have your goal, be hopeful, but don't if you're just no, it's going to happen. If you put all your eggs in that basket and for some reason that basket gets tipped over, then you're just what are you going to do? Then you're it's soul crushing. But if you have that realism of don't be too hopeful, or don't be too hopeful, be honest and real about where you're going and how you're going to get there, then there's a grounding sense of it.
Yeah. But it also gives it the grounding, but also you take yourself seriously, but not too seriously, you know?
Exactly.
So there is a space for evil plans. I've always said I wanted world domination in the music industry. Well, that might not happen, but I'd actually like a cult following. That would be awesome.
I mean,
Okay, here's
that's
the
a
list.
wonderful cult followings are perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You
A
have a
list. Yeah, so this list I actually want your viewers and listeners to do. It is called I Have the Potential to Do Amazing Things, but I Probably Won't. And one thing you could do is actually list the potential amazing things that you can do, but you'll never do it. But you could do it at the same time. So potential amazing things like not working my day job. I have this amazing opportunity. I am going to relocate to Berlin. I am going to follow my dreams. I could rise to the top or I could crash and burn. But just list the potential to do amazing things. Do 5, write 5, and then counter. Like, yeah, I could do that. You know, I could be an artist. Or, you know what, I've had this crazy idea. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want my own business.
Right.
I want to be my own boss. Can I do this? What happens if you try and you fail? Well, at least you know.
Agreed.
So
yeah.
Like there's no harm. If you fall off the horse, get right back on. It's fun to watch you fall off. Do it again.
That's also
So
very good advice, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
And I like this homework. 5 things that seem outlandish or unreasonable, but you could do them. You know you could do them. It's just 5 things that you know that you could do if you were so inclined and motivated.
Yeah, if you were so inclined, if you've had a dream, if you've had an idea, jot it down. It gives you inner potential and actually make you feel good, I think. So
I think some people end up going, like, once you write it down, you're a little bit like, no, you know what? I am actually going to try that. I am like I keep saying that this is on my list of things, you know? It could inspire someone to actually pursue it. We're not saying that part of the homework is to actually try to do the amazing things, but we're not saying that you shouldn't try to do the amazing things. Like, you've written it down. I mean, what's the next step?
And
after you've made your list of 5, what is your next step? Are you going to take that leap? Also, when life shuts a door, open it again. It's a door. That is how it works.
So wonderful, wonderful words.
I was just thinking we were also talking about comedians and like open mic comedy and stuff, and I think it's cool how you get to make yourself laugh and like sort of tell yourself a joke in this. So I think that should be like part of the homework as well. Just make yourself laugh. Write 5 or 6 of these pessimistic things. Use the list if you want. It's
So and the we'll get this out again. Sorry.
I'm a firm believer of reverse psychology in that, like if I think something is really going to happen, like if I book a show that I'm really excited about, or if I know I'm gonna like same thing when I was planning on moving to Berlin and I realized that was going to be true, I didn't tell anybody. I tried to talk about it as minimally as possible. I tried to, in my head, it was very much like I didn't get my hopes up for it on purpose, because to crash from that high would have been far worse than to have tried it and not succeeded. But you know what I mean? But like if I was just like, I don't want to jinx it, basically, is what it comes down to. Yeah. No, I really like these. So we are unfortunately at the end of our time, but we have had an absolutely delight of a time. I don't know how Mr. Neon Tom is feeling, but I have had a wonderful time.
Can I do a quick shameless plug?
Of course.
You can do a quick shameless plug. We were about to say, where can we find you? What are you working on, Tara?
So I'm currently working on my EP. I have transferred all my music from acoustic to electronic, so it's a fresh new take on my material. And I'll be announcing the date for the release of the EP at www.taractaylor.com. So TARACTAYLOR.com. All my news, it'll direct you over to my Facebook, my SoundCloud, everything. So I'll be making the announcement for the date shortly. So, and I can't wait.
Amazing. Cool. That website is flashing on your screens right now, so go take a look. And once more, we want to say thank you very much to our guest, Tara C. Taylor, for coming on. It's been a delight having you.
Agreed.
Everybody,
It's been a delight being here. This has been awesome. You guys are
Oh,
amazing.
thanks for coming on.
You guys are fun.
thank you.
Thank you.
So everybody, if you have enjoyed what you've seen, please check out TaraCtaylor.com.
Yeah.
Remember to click like and subscribe below if you
Yeah.
haven't already to catch more great content and future episodes of Artists Under Construction. And as always, thank you all very much for watching. We hope you guys have as much fun watching as we do making it. I've been
Yeah.
Moves Johnson.
I've been Neon Tom. Thank you guys for watching. Go check out Tara C. Taylor. We love you.
We love you too.
Have a good one,
Bye,
guys. Bye.
One,
Bye.
two, one, two, one, two, one, two.
Thank you.